So I've invited Stephen Hopwood with me today, who's a holistic physician, to talk with me about an event the Arcturus Clinic in Totnes, Devon is running, called the Totnes Cancer Conference. Hi Stephen, and thanks for joining me.
Hi, you're welcome.
Now, can you give my audience a little bit of background about yourself and how you became a holistic physician?
Yeah, I can do. I just, without being picky, correct you a little bit, because I'm not running a conference called Totnes Cancer Conference. It's Totnes Cancer Care Conference, so it's a conference put on by Totnes Cancer Care, but it's called Treating People, Not Cancer. Because one of the important things is that when you make a statement, that there is no implication from that statement that you might be offering advice in connection with the treatment for cancer. So if you entitle my conference Totnes Cancer Conference, then people might infer that I might be offering advice in connection with treatment for cancer, and so therefore I would have committed an illegal act, basically, by breaking the 1939 Cancer Act. So the full title of the conference is Totnes Cancer Care Conference, Treating People, Not Cancer, so that makes it clear that we're not offering treatments for cancer. But yes, I'm an holistic physician, so to speak, and we're running a conference next November the 17th in Totnes.
And what you refer to there is actually the Cancer Act, isn't it? Basically.
It is, yeah. And this is what we're dealing with the trading standards in the UK, is trying to pick our way through the Cancer Act so that there is an opportunity for the complementary medical community to offer holistic health cultivation advice and support for people's health and well-being for people suffering from cancer. So not treating people for the disease in and of itself, but treating the person, basically nourishing, building, strengthening, cultivating, nurturing, developing their health, which is a new concept, really, which is what's almost quite laughable, really. It's like, they say, well, what do you mean, making people healthier? It's as if it's a new concept on the table, but they're slowly beginning to digest it, which is good. And so we're sort of moving forward on that basis, really making the discrimination between offering advice in connection with the treatment for cancer and offering advice for the treatment of the person as a whole, for their immunity, their sort of blood optimization, their immune endocrine optimization, basically.
And you'll be really careful with your language there, and I can understand why. And you've courted controversy previously with the March conference, is my understanding.
Yeah.
Do you want to enlighten me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I can go into that. I'll just give the listeners a bit of a background, really, because I sort of jumped in at the deep end, but we could reverse a little bit, I think. I'm still registered with the General Medical Council in England, the GMC, and so I'm a qualified and registered medical doctor in the UK, and went through Bristol University Medical School. But while I was at medical school, I took a year off and spent 3 months studying acupuncture in Peking, China, back in 1984. And then actually studied Tibetan medicine in northern India for a couple of months in 1986, also as part of my medical degree. And then went on to qualify and worked as a hospital doctor and worked as a GP, and then trained as an acupuncturist with the British Acupuncture Council in London, and then through a dislike of the protocols, basically, that I was sort of enforced to prescribe, through the NHS and the pharmaceutical industry, became increasingly sort of unwilling to comply with those pharmaceutical protocols, and so just found a big conflict of interest. So felt unable to carry on as an NHS GP, really. So I went to work privately and set up the Arcturus Clinic in Totnes, which I've been running for 15 years, which is a nice little place. It's on a couple of stories. In fact, we're just about to take over the ground floor and turn it into a Thrive Centre, I think we're going to call it, which will incorporate the Arcturus Clinic and the Totnes Cancer Care Centre, as well as a bookshop and a supplement shop and an alfresco dining sort of takeaway area. So yeah, quite excited about that. But we want to get, with osteopaths and chiropractors and homeopaths and craniosacral and masseuses and float tanks and things for many years, doing acupuncture and Chinese herbs and psychotherapy and, all of those sorts of normal things that go on really. But, obviously becoming increasingly aware of the increasing incidence of cancer in the community really, and the sort of shocking sort of rise in rates really compared with, 100 years ago. Now 1 in 3 people are likely to, have a diagnosis of cancer at some point in their life. It's sort of second biggest killer after heart disease, but it's the rise in it that's so disturbing really. So, and not only that, but then you look at what is offered by, the Western medical pharmaceutical profession, and it is just a blend of surgery, radiotherapy, chemotherapy, hormone therapy, and whilst failing to nourish their system in any way, shape or form really, and that's a bit shocking because it actually also doesn't seem to work that well. We decided, once you start to look a little bit broader, that it's important to try and emulate really the basic services offered by Bristol, which is to support people physically and physiologically and nutritionally and emotionally and psychologically and spiritually, and in terms of exercise and diet and putting an integrated package of support together for people to put their lives back together and in a reasonable and appropriate physiological way re-establish a functional immune system. But we decided to have a conference, and there's this Italian doctor who talked about alkalizing the body in sodium bicarbonate, and he got struck off for some reason. I'm not even quite sure what. I think one of his patients died or something, but yeah, I don't know. People with cancer, can and do die, so I'm not quite sure, what happened there. I don't think they were particularly pleased with his pronouncement, so but he was struck off for whatever reason, and but I still felt he had an interesting point of view because it's quite clear from simple analysis that a lot of people's physiologies are running too acidic. Their pH is too low, and this affects the pH in the gut, affects the normal flora, affects things like candida, affects the correct functioning of the immune system, everything. If you're trying to run a biochemical system in an acidic state, it's going to have a long-term effect on it really. And so that's even Western medicine recognises that there is an appropriate pH range for the body to function within. So just bringing the body back into that range seems like a fairly reasonable thing to do, anyhow, really. Wanted him, to come forward and, speak his mind on his point of view and his experience and say what happened to him. And, the MP and the mayor and the town council and the town clerk and the trading standards and the local GP surgery, they all basically went crazy. No, we can't have this man speaking in public. Again, because, just the fact that he's speaking implies that we may be offering advice in connection with the treatment for cancer. The implication is there before even he's got there, basically. So therefore we've committed a crime just because he may have said something, or people would have implied that he might have said something had he been allowed to turn up. So, there's a very interesting word in the legislation. Well, apparently, I haven't actually found it. I've asked them to clarify, but the word implication. So it's not that you just, in their face, like writing, we offer treatment for cancer. But if it's implied, if it may be implied, then you still, committed an offence, basically. So, there's this really grey area where, like, who decides what's an implication or not, really. And I'm in the process of asking trading standards to actually define, what they mean, what they mean by that, and what, whether that's, the average consumer reasonably, not imply that we may be offering advice in the treatment for cancer. So it's getting all very convoluted, but, it feels like we're, having to sort of engage in this sort of, in a sense, quite wordy and intellectual debate and with them, which on the one hand is all very clever or whatever, but on the other hand is extremely dull. But I think actually, where we're getting to is, I think there might be blowing quite a lot of hot air, and when you start to actually look them in the eye without blinking and, start to ask them what exactly they mean by this, that and the other, I think, it's actually going to work out that we can actually do what we want to do. So that's good. And I'm going to get them to say that, basically, so that I have it in writing that it is okay with them that I do this, basically. And that then lays the ground, really. So that we've got, in a sense, some trading standards, so legal precedent for complementary medicine being able to, offer the community that, the means of strengthening and nurturing and cultivating, physical and physiological and nutritional and, all the other aspects of our needs, really. And so, but trying to get them to actually write down that it's okay, basically, really is like squeezing blood out of the stone. They do not want to say it. Every time they say something, they leave themselves a little back door, and then you've got to go through and, say, well, thank you very much, but what exactly do you mean by that, So, but we're getting there. And I think we'll all be able to run the next conference, basically. And I hope, to have a day on Saturday of just doctors. We'll be talking on health cultivation and the principles physiologically and otherwise of, building and rebuilding health and constitution and immunity and vitality and, sustainable immunology and all the rest of it. And, so hopefully we can get some doctors along, listening to some doctors talking about complementary medicine and what it does best, really. And, in a way that will hopefully start to sort of shift a few attitudes. I know there are doctors out there, that think this way. It's just taking your blinkers off and using physiology intelligently, basically, which is what they don't do. You go all the way through medical school, and I sort of twigged it fairly early, which is why I took a year off and went to China. I spent 2 years at medical school learning anatomy and physiology and biochemistry and all the rest of it. And then, you're meant to inject all the pathology and pharmacology and all the rest of it. But at no point do they talk about, well, if you understand the physiology to work in this way, then, if we support the body with these vitamins, if we work out what the body needs, we work out the body needs zinc, it needs selenium, it needs vitamin C, it needs omega oils, it needs an alkali pH, et cetera, et cetera. If you can employ an intelligent understanding of physiology, so we've got vitamin D3 receptors, those receptors are waiting for vitamin D3 to turn up to turn that receptor on so that the body's immune system, can function. Without that, that's most likely that it's not going to function as well as if all those receptors are, full up and happy and doing what they were born to do, basically. And, so there's, definitely an emerging, medicine now, this truly holistic, integrative, medicine that's physiologically based that gives an opportunity to, you got people spending millions on racehorses and athletes and all the rest of it. You're not telling me that all those vitamins and all that good food and all the stuff that they spend on their horses and all the rest of it, you could just feed the horse on McDonald's and it would run just as well. It's like, obviously not. And so, it's the same with the athletes at the Olympics, They'll be taking all sorts of vitamins and minerals and optimize, and you can build and cultivate and sustain health on quite a practical level. What you're doing really. This is what we do, and we do give people iodine and magnesium and vitamin D3 and alkalize their bodies and make sure there's zinc and selenium and all the detox techniques and dietary and exercise, but because it works. And that's what people want. They want to be healthy, they want to be happy, and they want to live life to the full, and they don't want to be sick and toxic, and it's just natural really. But they don't like it up them, so to speak, because the doctors must know that they're wrong. They must know that it's like, oh right, well, we're not suffering from new to nature synthesized pharmaceutical chemical deficiency syndromes. Not. Our bodies aren't craving these chemicals that nature's never seen before, that our bodies don't know what to do with because they're unnatural, because they've been synthetically created so that they can patent and copyright and monopolize and toxify, basically. Yeah, they are inherently toxic, So people are wanting something different. And it's all about the paradigm shift, really, that movement away from, new to nature synthesized toxic pharmaceutical chemical products, which cost a fortune and don't give our physiologies what they naturally and truly and obviously need. So, to a system that is much more holistic and, much more heart-based, basically, because it's building life. It's like a gardener, nourishing his organic soil with compost and manure and spring water and all the rest of it. And, the difference between that and the GMO, Monsanto, Frankenstein food and all the pesticide, all the chemicals that goes on the food that gives us cancer in the first place, and people that sold you the chemicals to poison yourself with, they'll run the NHS and bankrupt you by giving it yet more chemicals, which is not what you need. So this conference will probably attract quite a lot of media attention, which will be quite fun. The BBC have already got quite heavily involved, which has been good. The headline Spotlight local Southwest TV news article when the conference was pulled, and then when Trading Standards said no legislative enforcement action will be taken, they came and interviewed me again. Sam Smith from the BBC, from Inside Out, she's doing her bit basically. We're gonna film them filming me. So the other thing I do for people listening is I also have got involved in the political side of things, and we're on TNS Radio now. I run a Sky TV channel called Paradigm Shift TV. So I've been doing that the last 2 years, and that goes out on 10 million Sky Murdoch satellite installations across the UK, and then also more across Europe. So quite pleased to be up there really, and got 33 hours a week, so 4 or 5 hours a day, one or two documentaries a day, and we basically broadcast everything. Apart from, funnily enough, Cancer the Forbidden Cures, because we've taken that down at the moment.
Tempt fate.
But for people, they can see our website. Everything that goes out on our Sky TV channel live also goes out on the web live. So if you haven't got Sky TV, you can still watch programs live on the channel. we broadcast all the documentaries on the money supply, the media monopoly, the globalisation agenda, 9/11, 7/7, all about the environmental hoax and chemtrails and HARP and, all the spiritual stuff in a sense, and a lot of health stuff goes negative about, Monsanto and all the rest of them and also a lot of positive stuff, a lot of the conference stuff that we do and interviews I do. I've interviewed Dr. Sarah Myhill and Dr. Simonsini and Dr. Robert Verkirk, and so we broadcast a lot of the sort of positive, new dimensional doctors speaking their minds. So this conference will be, we've got an accumulation of all of those speakers really. So Rob Verkirk from the Alliance from Natural Health Campaign will be coming.
What's he specifically going to be talking about?
Well, Rob used to be a professor, I think, at Middlesex University, and he resigned and set up this organisation. He felt so passionate about campaigning for natural health, and then it became an Alliance for Natural Health Campaign, and then it's sort of gone European, and he manages to raise tens and tens of thousands of pounds, mainly to pay lawyers, but, he's one of 3 people on the entire planet that is allowed into the Codex Alimentarius Commission's actual meetings through the Natural Health Federation in the US with Scott Tips and one other. So he's literally right in the thick of all that European legislation, sitting in on these meetings and campaigning within Codex, as best he can, and running about 10 campaigns normally, one on Chinese medicine. People look on his website, anhcampaign.org, I think it is, Dr. Rob Verkirk. He's a very successful actor, so it's great. Actually, I'm very pleased indeed to have his support to chat and also to have the weight of the arts. As you mentioned earlier, they sent an email out. So,
a massive campaigning organisation they are.
Yeah, and also, we've got Dr. Patrick Kingsley, who often writes in What Doctors Don't Tell You.
Yeah.
So he's...
Will he be covering his protocol?
I hope so. Yeah, that's what it's all about, and talking about wider political issues.
That'd be useful for a lot of people to go and listen to.
We're going to get all of these things. We're going to video basically, and so they'll all be up on Paradigm Shift TV and on our Sky TV channel, because that's also partly why we do it. Because if you make a big fuss and get everybody there, and you can film it, and then everybody can see what's said and what's going on really. So
who else have you got speaking?
Dr. Sarah Myhill.
What will she be covering?
She'll be talking about nutritional medicine, and health cultivation from her perspective. She's been in front of the GMC 8 times now. She's won every time, but they really have been gunning for her basically, and she's been an incredibly valiant soldier, really, a true hero, fighting these people and maintaining and sustaining her registration and continuing to practice and insisting that what she's doing is absolutely correct, which it is. But that's, in a sense, I was delighted to meet and interview her, because for me as a doctor it was very, very affirming. I've been, in a sense, doing my own thing, gathering as much information as research I can from different corners, and understanding about iodine, vitamin D3, magnesium, the importance of all of these things and physiological processes, and went to see Dr. Sarah Myhill. She'd been sort of working privately the same for about 15 years, and I was, you were talking about iodine, like magnesium, vitamin D3, so that, okay, so, but it is, it's in a sense common sense physiology. Once you start to look at how the body works and what its needs are, and how the calcium and magnesium work together, and the sodium and the potassium work together, and, I have to balance the pH, it's about supporting the cell in its correct environment, and getting the blood working properly, and all the rest. So it's very, very affirming for me to see, she taught me a few things about B12, so I started using a bit of B12 more often. And Dr. Brownstein in America, his work's been very influential on iodine. I just brought out a book on B12. That's another substance that we all do a lot more of. That's cheap and really good. So so Dr. Hermione, well, she actually can't come, but I'm going to go and interview her. So we'll make a presentation to camera. We'll play at the conference, so that'll be good.
Brilliant. And who else? Anyone else?
Dr. Andre Young Schnell from Brighton. He's talking more on the sort of psycho-emotional side of things.
Interesting.
I think Dr. Damien Downing is also coming. Dr. Heather Joyce from Bristol, she gave a wonderful talk on mistletoe at the last conference, and hopefully she'll come again. And there's also Dr. Michael Newman from the Shen Clinic in the Isle of Wight. Mm-hmm. So I think that's about it. Maybe one or two other doctors, perhaps still quite a bit of time between now and November the 17th. So I'm quite confident we've almost got everybody that I want booked and coming, and we're ready to go really. So that's good.
And the difference in this one is that the paying public can come. It's not just doctors. Is my understanding?
The paying public could come last time.
Oh right, okay.
No, it's just that we invite the doctors along specifically and give the doctors a free ticket if they want to come to listen to the doctors on the Saturday. That's It's not exclusively for doctors, but if you're a doctor, you get in free, and because they obviously need the financial incentive, because GPs in the UK, only was at £104,000 annual average income. So, as times are tough for them, it's good to give them a free ticket.
And do you want to just give us the date of when it is?
Yes, it's November the 17th, which is a Saturday, 2012, in the Civic Hall in Totnes. And if you want to have a look at the event, you can look at totnescancercare.org, which will be the website that's just about to come up, which we had to take down about 6 months ago. So we're just at a negotiative stage now with trading standards, whereby we're going to start to reprint the brochure. We'll get the website back up. The awareness is already building around the conference, so whether just wait for the nod from trading standards to try and squeeze that last little bit of justification that that what we're doing is okay out of them, and then we can start to put it all back up and work towards the conference in November, which should be good.
Brilliant.
And then all the information that the doctors give on the day. There will also be another day on the Sunday, which should be more of a lay or practical day. Barbara Wren, Matthew Manning, Kevin Wright, Dr. Claudius Van Vick, but also I think Patrick Kingsley is going to talk again on the Sunday. Maybe we'll get him to talk more politically on the Saturday and more protocol on the Sunday. So it'll be a weekend event. We'll film the whole lot. It'll be the sort of interest that the BBC have already shown in the media and all the rest of it. It will be full, I'm sure. So that the advertising's much done already for us. The hall can only take 220 people, but the funny thing is, we might charge 30 quid and make some money, and then we can actually cover the cost of them cancelling the last conference and reprinting all the brochure and actually start to break even and sort ourselves out, and then start to invest some money in getting the cancer centre together. So, the conferences might be a really good way of, funding, putting some money into the catalog so we can actually develop the services for people, and we want to put some money in our health without wealth fund so that people without money can come and have treatment, and start to establish ourselves really as a little place where people can come, a bit like the Bristol Cancer Help Centre, the Penny Bronze Centre, which has done so well. To work the same sort of ethos on the high street, really offering a weekly drop-in group and, sort of protocols, for getting yourself sorted out. So, if we can do some conferences and get some sort of national attention and start to sort of bring complementary doctors together and start to raise the question, in the public domain, then I think it's all good, really.
And you do seem to have a wider picture here, not just of the event itself, but actually of educating much, much wider population. Are you looking to take these bigger over time and more national over time, by any chance?
It could possibly run somewhere else, but I'm a bit lazy, really. Everybody else comes to me, I'm going running around.
So this is where the recording of them basically might come in, the television side.
Yeah, they can watch it on telly or they can watch it on the internet or whatever. But it's also good for the community, really. It's nice to have it in Totnes, and that's what Totnes is about, really. It's a town of thriving consciousness and healing and transformation. So it's good to be part of that down there, and I always like having a little sort of flirt with the authorities, really. It's the little dance,
I think anything that includes nutrition, alternative healing, the herbal medicines now is going to be flirting with the authorities into the future, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming on Food for Thought. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to actually getting to the conference. Thank you.
You're welcome.